Let's look at the guidelines for applicants for MPhil, PhD, and PhD programs. You will notice that there is no master's here. So that means you cannot apply for a master's program. You can either apply for MPhil, PhD, or PhD programs. So I will do a separate video explaining the difference between these programs so that you can make an informed decision and apply for the right program for you. The scholarship is for those who come from African Union or African Commonwealth countries. So make sure that you check this before you apply for the scholarship. Be sure that your country falls under these two categories. We've already covered that. There's an age limit to the scholarship. You should not have reached your 40th birthday by the 1st of January, meaning on the 1st of January 2027, you should not be 40 by then. And these are the required qualifications for the different programs. For PhD, for direct entry, the qualifications are listed in 1.6. We'll have a look at that. MPhil PhD program, these are the qualification. You do need an undergraduate degree and at least an upper second class degree, preferably with a master's degree. So that means if you have a master's degree, you stand a better chance. And then for MPhil, you need an undergraduate degree. First of all, you should apply for admission to one of the institutions that are affiliated with the program, with the scholarship. There's a list of the institution. We'll have a look at those. And then the second thing is you should complete the scholarship application form, submit supporting documents. In section 7, your nominating agency has to complete that section. Remember, the scholarship, you have to apply through a nominating agency. You cannot apply directly to the ministry here in Mauritius because your application will not be considered. Number 3 is related to number 1. Just be sure that you apply for admission at a public university. Do not apply to private universities because they are not covered by the scholarship. And it is your responsibility to provide the required qualifications. You need a supervisor because these are research degrees. So first of all, you have to check for supervisors that are aligned with your research interest. Reach out to them. After they agree to supervise you, then you need a letter from them that confirms that they will supervise you. This process can take a while because supervisors are busy. You might find that the supervisors you are interested in, maybe they have students already, so they may not be able to take you, and you have to find another supervisor. So the earlier you start this process, the better. And then you also need to write an abridged research proposal. These are the requirements for the research proposal. For assistance with research proposal, you can work with me one-on-one through mentorship or review of what you have written. There is a link to my services in the video description, so you can book and I'll be happy to assist you with your research proposal. These students are not eligible to apply for the scholarship if you are already in Mauritius, if you already have a PhD, or you are in part-time programs, distance, blended, you do not qualify for the scholarship. And then these are the higher education institutions you can apply to. There is the University of Mauritius, and these are their requirements. You would notice that there is a link to potential supervisors. please click on that link and then check the profiles of the supervisors and see which one aligns with your research interest, and then you reach out to them. I would advise you to work on your research proposal first, so that when you reach out to the supervisors, you can send them your research proposal, and that would make it easier for them to decide whether your research interest aligns with their line of work. It makes it easier. It's better than you just reaching out with nothing. That might be a waste of time for the supervisors. And then there is also the University of Technology, where I am currently at. If you'd like a glimpse of the University of Technology, there's a video for that. You can watch it. Maybe it might help you to make an informed decision if you're interested in the University of Technology. There's also I'm always having a challenge pronouncing this, Université de Mascare. You can also apply there. And then there's also Mauritius Institute of Education, but this one you should pay attention because it only has Master of Philosophy in Education and Master of Philosophy in Mathematics Education. There is no MPhil, PhD or PhD under the Mauritius Institute of Education. But for the other institutions that we have already gone through, they do have MPhil, PhD and PhD. And then there are contact details for the Master of Philosophies at Mauritius Institute of Education. There is an application form that you need to fill out. I'll do a separate video on this one. We've already discussed that you need to apply for admission. Make sure that you keep your proof of payment for the application fee, because if you are selected for the scholarship, then you'll be reimbursed. And be sure to get a conditional offer or an acknowledgement, something that shows that you have applied for admission to a university. You will submit your completed form and supporting documents to your respective nominating agency. You do not submit to the ministry in Mauritius. Find out what is your nominating agency for your country. There is a list, there's a specific document with a list of nominating agencies. Go to the official website of the scholarship. It's there in the video description. Go check it out and see the contact details and the location of your nominating agency. These are the required documents. You need to submit a birth certificate, your certificates, your educational certificates and transcripts. And then you need to bring the originals when you come to Mauritius. Do not submit the originals when you submit to your nominating agency. Keep them, you submit them when you are here so that they can verify that your documents are real or correct. And then there is a medical certificate that you need a doctor to fill out. It's on section 6 of the application form. We'll look at that when we do the application form. Of course, you need a copy of your passport and a letter from your supervisor. You also need a certificate of character, depending on your country or where you're from. Normally, for example, in Botswana, we do this at the police, so you have to obtain that certificate. And then they will check the authenticity of the documents that you have provided. There's a declaration where you have to make a declaration in section 4 of the application form. In section 3, you have to indicate the title of your proposed research. Since you are going to write a research proposal, there should be a title in your research proposal. I've already mentioned that if you apply directly to the ministry, you will not be considered. If you have any queries, you inquire directly with your nominating agency. So basically, nominating agencies are the ones who nominate applicants or candidates in their own country. What you do is you submit to your nominating agency, and then they shortlist and nominate candidates for the 3 different programs, and then send your names. If you are nominated, send your names to the ministry here in Mauritius. Ultimately, the decision to award the scholarship lies with the Ministry of Education in Mauritius. If you don't hear from them within 6 months, just consider it unsuccessful. You can try again the following year. If you are successful, they will communicate. And then these are the tuition fees. You don't necessarily have to worry about tuition fees because this is a fully funded scholarship. But what you need to pay attention to is this point. You would notice that for SADC, the tuition fee is 100K, and then non-SADC 160K. If you go beyond this threshold, depending on where your country falls under, then you have to pay the excess. So make sure that you don't take unnecessary extra courses, because if they escalate your tuition fees, you have to pay the extra. And study hard, because if you have receipts or repeat, you have to pay for that. And here is the duration. We'll talk more when I explain on the video the different programs. Here, these are conditions that you need to read when you are awarded the scholarship. For now, I want to focus on the application process. Pay attention to this point as well. You do need to have some finances to cover your expenses while you wait for your formalities to be completed, because it may take a while. When you apply for visa, you get a temporary visa for 3 months that allows you to come into Mauritius, and then you have to do some medicals in order to get the long-term visa, and that can take a while. And for you to open a bank account, you would need the long-term visa, so that can take almost 3 months. It did for me. So you need to have some kind of finances to cover your expenses while you are waiting to be set up with your bank account so that you can receive your stipend. This is the stipend. It's not enough. You probably might need to work part-time to boost your stipend. And then these conditions on payment of stipend when you travel or when you complete. You can read at your own time. These are other conditions, so you have to abide by the regulations of the government here in Mauritius. When you apply for visa, like I mentioned, you will get a temporary visa. I will do a separate video on visa application so that you understand clearly the process and the required document. But basically, you get a temporary visa that allows you to enter Mauritius, and then once you are here and you have completed your formalities, then you can get a long-term visa. You get a return airfare by the most economical route to Mauritius. Keep your receipt so that you can be reimbursed. Economical route, they mean the most direct route. Like, for example, if you're coming from Botswana, you come from Gaborone, you go to Joburg. From Joburg, you come to Mauritius. You don't go via Dubai or Kenya, because if you do that, that is not the economical route. They will reimburse you the economical route, whatever whichever places that you went to that is not part of the economical route will not be reimbursed. And then You have to pay for your own ticket, then you get reimbursed. So prepare for that. These are the conditions. Families, relatives, they are not covered by the scholarship. You have access to public hospitals here, but if you want to make arrangement for private hospitals, you can do that at your own expense. And then for accommodation, I'll talk about accommodation in a different video. I'll make a video specifically for accommodation and I explain the different options that are available for international students. So you should look out for these videos. They will be coming. We do submit progress report every month, so you should make progress every month because that determines whether you get a stipend or not. So when you are here, make sure that you take your studies seriously so that you can get your stipend. This is about renewal and termination. I'm not going to focus on that. That's something that you can read at your own time. And then here, this is about interruption of studies. Interruption of studies is more like when you take a break. Like, for example, I requested an interruption of studies for maternity. I took 3 months break, and during that time, I did not receive a stipend. So this is what they are talking about here. Medical unfitness. Now, these are the documents that you need to submit to your nominating agency. The completed application form, I will explain the form separately, your birth certificate, copy of passport, educational certificates, transcript, copy of receipt from a public higher education institution. This is for when you have applied for admission and you should get like proof that shows that indeed you have applied for admission. Then a medical certificate under section 6, an acceptance letter from your supervisor. These are the institutions and there are links, official links to the institutions, so you can decide which institution you want to study at. All the best with your application. Look out for the next video. I'll be explaining the difference between MPhil, PhD, and PhD so that you can decide on the program that is suitable for you.